Castroneves' team. That's Matt Rosenthal. The air jack now, Harry Reynolds from the number 6 team, also for the 6 of Ryan Briscoe. Matt Geesy's going to be a fueler. So the fueler, the air jack, and inside front, it's an all-star team now for their series points leader, Will Power.
And teammates for Panther Racing and Panther Vision Racing come in at the same time. Lindy.
And in comes Ed Carpenter, who does not have a full ride this season, says the way I look at it, every time I'm sitting in that car, I have to do the absolute best I can to get the most out of it. He said to get the most out of it tonight, he needed to go down on front wing, half a turn.
And Lindy, when they took that front wing out, that's exactly what we expected. That means the car was loose. Don't see the same kind of change for Weldon. Weldon could run the bottom of the racetrack. Carpenter, look at them side by side.
That's Mira. Weldon's already gone out.
Yep.
And Vitor Mira is going to come out ahead of Ed Carpenter.
Nicely done.
Well, remember, we saw Carpenter having such a strong race in Chicago. Unfortunately, when the fueler went to plug in, they didn't get fuel in. So they're definitely going to focus on making all that. Here's Power on pit lane.
And several others get their work completed on pit lane. There's Thomas Scheckter, who's coming in for service. And as we said, Will Power, so is Dario Franchitti and Scott Dixon. Robbie.
Be on the lookout for Will Power, maybe taking some wing out. They're going to make a tire change. Evidently, all 3 Penske drivers having a little problem with others here. Take out that front wing, and out goes Will Power. Nice stop there, boys. Dario Franchitti right on his tail.
Dixon,
and as you said, he did take out Robbie. I'm sure you could see that as well. It was at least a turn.
Let's go, buddy. He's coming into one.
They're spotting where the leaders are. Paul Tracy is not yet pitted, so we talked about patience. He's been saving fuel.
Well, I think it's interesting. Everybody we're seeing turn
except for that time.
That was wing in, wasn't it? That was wing in.
Briscoe is the first person who had push. Everyone else appears to have been loose.
But with the cooler conditions, that's what I would expect, is this track would get looser as the night goes on. So to take a little wing off the front and keep that balance, you expect that. Not in Briscoe's case.
Paul Tracy leads the Kentucky Indy 300. 58 laps have been completed. Race going very quickly since we had the crash involving Takuma Sato on lap number 1. But Paul Tracy has not pitted yet, but is the leader of the race. He did pit on lap number 6 during the caution, I beg your pardon.
Yeah, where we had a handful of guys just sequencing in then.
Now he's coming in for his second stop.
And this pit road, don't underestimate this. Just like in Chicago, when it's green conditions, you come down that little pit road, and now right here as you come on the pit road, it really tightens up and could be a challenge for the drivers.
Will Power is going to be shown, I believe, as the leader of the race when Paul comes in. Dixon second, then Weldon, Franchitti. We have a good battle going on there.
It shows that when you pit early, it's a disadvantage. The cars that pit later always tend to cycle towards the front. Paul Tracy, now we know, making second pit stop, bit out of sequence, and
that looked like they put something in, didn't they? Didn't it look like he turned it?
I think he took some out, but yeah.
All right.
You say right, I say left.
With the pit stop completed, it's Power, Dixon, and Weldon at Kentucky Speedway.
This Brickyard runs on sugar.
Sweet sugarcane ethanol.
It's an advanced biofuel recognized by the EPA
because it cuts greenhouse emissions by 60% compared to gasoline.
And can save you money at the pump. Fast and sweet and clean and lovely, the fuel from sugar cane goes racing. I can dance. Nah, I cannot sing. But one thing we can agree, we race on ethanol.
There's a reason why. In 5 years of powering every car in the Indianapolis 500 race, not a single Honda engine has failed. It's not the parts we make them from. It's the part we put in to every Honda.
Quality and value. Style. Performance. Sure, you want it all. You just don't want to spend it all. No problem. Just go with the brand voted #1 overall, Toyo tires, for 7 of the last 9 years by people who know best. independent tire dealers, just like me. So for top quality and top value, take it from the pros. Toyo Tires.
Max Film, multi-purpose synthetic lubricant from Royal Purple. The easy spray answer to penetrate, lubricate, and leave a long-lasting film that protects. Forget old school aerosols and break free with Max Film, multi-purpose synthetic lubricant from Royal Purple.
Versus takes you back to NASCAR's roots.
Green flag.
With open wheels, short tracks, and the same high-speed thrills. NASCAR Whelen Southern Modified Tour from Langley Speedway on Versus.
The IZOD IndyCar Series tonight on Versus at Kentucky Speedway. The leader of the race on your left is Will Power. In the middle is Dan Weldon, and the third place car is Scott Dixon. Dario Franchitti not too far behind. Tony Kanaan, Marco Andretti battle for fifth. Elio Castroneves, Briscoe, Mira, and Ed Carpenter, who is a pole sitter, complete the top 10 as the first round of pit stops have been made under green.
Now on the performances coming into the pit and leaving, fairly close on the in-lap except for Will Power. He certainly won that battle, but on the way out, it was Dan Weldon who pulled the fast outlap. But again, the penalty, those are close. The biggest penalty was Weldon and Carpenter pitting early. That put Carpenter way back.
Boy, Dan Weldon is very racy tonight. He goes to the high side of Will Power. They are side by side through turn number 4. Great battle on the racetrack, Jack.
Yeah, guys, and you heard Robbie Floyd talk about that all-star pit crew for Will Power. Not because of last week, but trying to be in the midst of the points chase. Remember last week, Will Power came in for fuel and they didn't get the full load. Let me explain to you what happened. We talked about it before. This is a fuel red hat. When it went into the fuel Buckeye, most teams will use a sensor light that'll go green and say you made the connection. Well, that sensor light isn't always reliable. And for Will Power at an earlier oval race, it did not fire. So the fueler thought, well, there's a misfunction with the light. What he should have done from there is check on the fuel vent, this little butterfly. That, when you make a connection, it will begin to vibrate. He neglected to do that because it was so fast and no fuel got in. Hey, Dan Weldon is starting to look awfully racy, Lindy.
He sure is, Jack. Thank you. Meanwhile, EJ Vizo out of the car. EJ, was it a brake problem?
Yeah, really funny. I mean, in the ovals we don't brake, and from lap 1 we have a problem with the brakes. Just basically the rear brakes stayed stuck, and we were dragging the brakes, and we started overheating the tires. The pressures came up, the engine overheated, and by the end I just stopped because we melt all the brake system, and it was not safe to drive. If there was a yellow, I was not going to be able to brake. It's just a real shame. I keep saying the same. We do have so much potential in this team, but we keep having these sort of problems that they're basically out of our hands. It's just really frustrating.
Well, speaking of all that, I asked Takuma earlier how he keeps the morale and his psyche up. How do you do it?
Well, I think these are in the tough times. We need to show that we're strong enough to handle these moments, and that this is racing. Sometimes it rains, sometimes it's not. And it's tough. Yeah, it's especially tough knowing that all the potential that we have as a team, all the effort me and the sponsors do to be here and put such a nice car in the track, and we have problems like this.
EJ, thank you. Bob.
2 of the 3 KV Racing Technology cars are out of the race all there already. We saw Sarah Fisher there for a moment. She's running in 24th position, a lap down, and her teammate Graham Rahal also is a lap down, but there are 22 on the lead lap. But up front, it is the current points leader in the IZOD IndyCar Series, Will Power at Kentucky Speedway. "78 laps out of 200 completed at Kentucky Speedway. Will Power has the lead. He is putting a lap on Mario Marias, who is running 21st. Simona Di Silvestro running 22nd, just went a lap down. And when they went around her, Will Power got a bit of an advantage. Dan Weldon got a bit hung up. And now we see some of the other faster cars. Oh, look out! And Mira Simona is in trouble.
Simona.
And
And Briscoe.
Wow.